It's an honor to be with you. I have a whole big, beautiful speech to give, but I just gave two of them. And I thought we'd do maybe a little question and answer. You've heard it before, and so we could do that. I just want to say we've had a tremendous time in India. Prime Minister Modi is a fantastic man doing a fantastic job. He's a real friend of mine, and you know, you always say that in a guarded way. He's a friend, but he loves India, and I'm a friend, but I love the USA. But he's done an incredible job, and we're working together, I would say, better than our countries have ever worked before. I know many of the people in the room by name and reputation. Incredible job that you've done. Incredible job that you've done. Really inspirational for not only your country, but really inspirational for anybody looking to be a successful business person, and there are plenty of them around. The job that you have all done is incredible, and we know many of you have invested in the United States, and you have to say thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You've made us even richer. But the fact is, other than yesterday, which was something pretty bad with respect to the virus, and we'll see what happens. I see the futures are up today, up fairly substantially. But that's a very serious thing, but we think we're in very good shape in the United States. We've essentially closed the borders to areas where we had to close them, and we had very few. We took in 32 people over the last 2 days because they were sick, and they're Americans, and they're great people. You know, what are you going to do? They're in quarantine. But we had essentially 12 people. Many of them are getting better now. Soon they'll all be better, we hope, and we're watching very carefully. So we've had a very, very good stretch of, let's just say we're fortunate so far, and we think it's going to remain that way. China is working very, very hard. I've spoken to President Xi, and they're working very hard. And if you know anything about him, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. They've had a rough patch, and I think right now they have it. It looks like they're getting it under control more and more. They're getting it more and more under control. So I think that's a problem that's going to go away, but we lost almost 1,000 points yesterday on the market, and that's something, you know, things like that happen where, and you have it in your business all the time, had nothing to do with you. It's an outside source that nobody would have ever predicted. If you go back 6 months or 3 months ago, nobody would have ever predicted. But let's see, I think it's going to be under control, and I think I can speak for our country. For our country is under control. But again, we do business with a lot of other countries. We take care, we work with other countries. We want other countries to be happy, healthy, and well. They've got to be happy, healthy, and well. It's very simple. And so let's see how it all works out, but I think it's going to work out fine. I hope so. We're working very hard. We're spending a tremendous amount of money also on, we just asked for $2.5 billion on getting everything ready just in case something should happen, and also helping other nations that really aren't equipped to do it. So with that, it's an honor to be with you, and if you'd like to ask some questions and find out how much you should invest in the United States of America, I'll tell you exactly where to invest and how to invest. We just did a lot of business with India where they're buying $3 billion worth of helicopters, great helicopter. We have helicopters like, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. And, you know, the Prime Minister actually said if you were president 30 years ago, would have all your equipment. But they started buying many years ago from another nation and others, and now they're starting to buy from us. So that's an honor. But we're up to a pretty high number. We'll be up very quickly to a pretty high number. And we do make by far the best, and they want to have the best. So that's what we do. So thank you all very much. If the press wants to stay for a couple of questions, you know, we're going to be having a news conference at 5 o'clock. So you can go to that, or you can stay and hear some of these questions from truly some of the greatest business leaders anywhere in the world. Now, if you'd like to do, I could do this, Steve. I could read the book for you, and we could have a nice, beautiful little speech. It will take 5 minutes, and you'll fall asleep, but they'll be, well, they might find it interesting. I don't know about them, but you guys have heard it before. But please, if you have any questions, please. Anybody? Okay, let's go home. Boy, we must have done a very good job if you'd have. Do you want to say something about the energy business?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please. How are we doing?
We're doing great, sir. My name's Dan Bruyette. I have the privilege of serving in the United States. I'm the president. As his Secretary of Energy, we've had great conversations here in India with my counterpart. Minister Pradhan. I expect that in the very near future we're going to have some new energy deals.
Yeah.
And so far, that noise.
Sounds nice. Sounds like a Trump rally, actually. We're actually saying hello to the embassy people as soon as we finish.
Sir, I'll just end with this. In the last 2 years, we've seen a remarkable uptick in the purchases of U.S. oil and gas by India. And when the president was elected in 2017, that number was approximately 25,000 barrels per day of crude oil. It is now over 250,000 barrels per day, a tenfold increase. And we expect it to get better from here.
It's going up very, very rapidly. Thank you very much, Dan. Really great job. Where is Robert? Yes, please.
I'd be interested to hear why some of these companies have decided to invest in the United States and make big manufacturing investments.
Okay, good. Would anybody like to say? Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I'm Chandrasekhar, representing the Tata Group.
Yep.
First, let me start by following instructions. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for making a picture.
Good.
And our group has 10 different companies in the United States. We have annual revenues of close to $25 billion. And we have manufacturing plants in Pittsburgh.
Great job. Yeah.
And then we have a chemicals plant in Wyoming. And we employ about 42,000 people. And your tax reforms is exceptionally very, very good.
So which to you was more important, the tax cuts, we did massive tax cuts, or the regulation cuts? Because I've had a lot of people in your positions running the biggest companies in the world saying the tax cuts were very important, but the regulation cuts may have been more important.
See, regulation cuts are more important in order to start new businesses as
Right.
well. For example, in our steel business, we have some issues which we represented that have been resolved now. And we run a very large IT company as well in the United States. And we are bringing the skills. We are trying to work with Ivanka.
Right.
We want to try and skill 1 million people in the United States.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. That's great.
We are deeply engaged with the country.
I heard that you were doing that, and I really appreciate it, and Ivanka appreciates it. And, you know, she started off, she wanted to get 500,000 people jobs. And if you know her, within about 2 weeks, she had that one done. And I think you're up to over 15 million people being trained by great companies, some great companies. Walmart was very much instrumental in some of the companies in this room. Yeah, they've done a great. So it's up to 15. And I don't think government could teach jobs like that. In other words, you teach something and it's complex stuff. Government is not equipped to do that. We could put all the money we want into government to do it, and they're just not equipped to do it. So thank you very much. That's fantastic. Great story. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, you talked about regulations, so I
Right.
do want to confirm that in 2017, we put up the first automotive assembly plant in Southeast Michigan in 25 years.
Right, that's right.
Making off-road utility vehicles. And the speed with which we could set up the company to get operations going, we have not experienced anywhere in the world. So we've invested about $1 billion, and right now we're in the shortlist of the bid for the United States Postal Service new delivery van, a decision which
Good.
may come up by the end of the year. And
Mhm.
if that comes through, we're going to very happily put in another $1 billion and employ about 2,000 people.
Very good. You've done a great job. So when are the bids due? When are they due?
We are told sometime around August. The bids
How many vans is it that you'd be making?
They're about 180,000.
Wow, that's a big business, isn't it?
When we were told that, you know, the Postal Service vans are actually, they're the right-hand drive.
Right, that's
They're
right.
diesel. So guess who makes right-hand drive diesel vehicles? Well, that's all Indian automakers. So
Yeah.
that's why we're bidding for it.
Good. Well, good luck. That's great. That's good luck. Yes, sir, please.
So my name is Hari Bhatia, part of Jubilant. We have
Yeah,
invested,
good.
we've invested almost $500 million in the pharmaceutical, very sophisticated things like nuclear medicine, allergy. We are present in 22 states with almost 2,000 people. And the other thing that we are doing is starting drug discovery in America for oncology. That's a biotech venture for new drugs, especially for therapies
Right, sure.
which have very limited drugs available.
Right.
So my question to you is mainly on the healthcare side, how do you see it for companies like ours coming
Yeah.
setting up manufacturing plants in the state.
All right. Healthcare is very important to the Republican Party, I will tell you. And we haven't been talking about it. We've been doing. We got rid of the individual mandate, which was a disaster in Obamacare, which really ended Obamacare. We're now taking the shell of Obamacare and really running it well. I had a choice. I could run it well or I could run it poorly. Then everybody would be upset and they'd blame President Obama. We decided to run it well, but would like to terminate it and put in great health care. We can do that. When you look at single payer, when you look at what Bernie Sanders and others want to do for the Democrats, it will never work because they're never going to be able to do it. It's not going to work, number one. Number two, it's not going to be good, even if it did work. And it's totally unaffordable, which for you would be a big problem. And I happen to think I've been pretty good at markets. The fact that they are even looking like they're in the hunt, I think drives our stock market down. Now, when we win re-election, I think we will. When we win, I think the market's going to go up like it's going to be like a rocket ship, like last time, but even more so. I think the fact that the Democrats are so radical, so out of control, they honestly don't know what they're doing. You see what's happening. They want to tell you about health care, and yet they can't count their own votes. In fact, now they're even saying that if you look at Nevada, that's all messed up with the vote count, and some of them are questioning the votes. But certainly Iowa I've never seen anything like it, and I've been watching politics for a long time, been involved in it now for a while, and I've never seen anything like it. So, but I think the fact that there's an election coming up, I think, a lot of people think we're going to win the election. I feel we're going to win the election because what we've done for jobs and for the military, for the vets, what we've done for health care, is incredible, including giving options to Obamacare at a far less cost, a cost that's much less. But if you look at all of the things that we've done, rebuilding our military, the biggest tax cuts in history, regulation cuts, that brought all you people. That's why you're in the United States. And then you're very happy and you're going in with more. But I think until the election is over, people are, and it's not just Bernie Sanders, it's others too. I think if people thought that there was a real chance of them getting it really is going to keep the market down. Now, the market's been up 70, 80, 90%, depending on your definition of, you can look at about 16 different definitions, but the country's been incredible. It had one bad day, that was yesterday. Futures are up today a little bit. But if you look at what we've done in terms of the percentage, even taking 1,000 points off, the numbers are incredible. If the other side had gotten in, I think it would have been 50 or 60 points down from where it was. Because the big thing, again, these regulation cuts, they were going to put more regulations on you. You were being strangled. Whether it was Keystone Pipeline, Dakota Access Pipeline, 48,000 jobs between the two of them, so many other things. I mean, nothing was getting done. Nothing was going to be built. It would take you 20 years to get a highway approved, a small highway. Take you 20 years to get a roadway approved. And it was out of control. We have that way down. That number is way, way down. And they may not get approved because if it doesn't work from a safety standpoint or an environmental standpoint, we don't want to get it approved either. We're not going to let them have it approved. But it's going to end up taking 2 years, and we're trying to get it down to less than that. And if it doesn't work, at least you're going to find out. How about working on something for 21 years and you find out that it just got rejected? So half of your working life, of course, nowadays with people retiring so early, it's more than half, right? But half of your working life, you're trying to get an approval. And then after 20 or 21 years, they reject you. We reject 3-2. That happens. So we've done a real job. But I think that, frankly, until the election is over, our market, it's phenomenal. But our market will jump thousands and thousands of points if I win. If I don't win, you're going to see a crash like you've never seen before. I really mean it, too. It's okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm P.K. Goenka from Western Group. We have
Great.
invested around $400 million.
Yeah.
And we did around 1,500 jobs.
I actually follow you guys, what you're investing.
Thank you very much for clearing the Keystone Pipeline.
Yep.
That was a big thing. Immediately once you become the president.
Right.
And all the pipes are manufactured in the U.S.
That's right.
It's a big thing.
That was one of the things I said, right? I put a little note in handwriting. You have to make the pipe in the USA, right? on the bottom. They said, sir, this will take 2 weeks to get. I said, no, it doesn't. You have to. Now, we had a little problem because they already bought the pipe, right? And that was a little bit, unfair to them, I thought. So we had to sort of let them do what they had to do. But they had bought much of the pipe. And Dakota Access Pipeline was already built, except for the one river area that I freed up for them. So it was great. Well, that's good. So is that what you do?
Yeah, and we are really like at home, absolutely, and for all your expert and reforms, it's really a big, big thing.
Thank you very much. That's very nice to say. I appreciate it. Thank you for the investment. Yes, sir, please.
Mr. President, congratulations. You're doing an outstanding job in terms of developing your economy and the world too. My name is Mohan Reddy. I represent a company called Sai, a technology company, but more broad sense from the technology industry perspective. This industry has gone through a tremendous amount of transformation. They're now making a large investment in the US, hiring a large hundreds of thousands of people right now, but we still have some challenges in terms of regulatory issues, especially administrative and legislative.
Right. I know that. Yeah.
So if you can actually look into them, it would be very grateful.
Well, we are. Now, some of the regulations have to go through what they call a statutory process, where you started to cut. We have the Secretary of Commerce here, and Wilbur knows exactly what this is all about. You have a statutory process, so we're going to cut regulations, but we have to give a 90-day notice, then we have to give 120 days, then we have to give 30 days, and we're in that process now with respect to a lot. No, we're going to cut a lot more regulations. No, and we're going to also have regulation, because I think you need regulation for safety and for environmental. But no president has ever cut anywhere close to what we've done. And I've done it in 3 years, and some of them have been for 8. In one case, is more than 8. But no president has come close. But we are in statutory environments where we have to go. We have one where we have to wait 6 months before we do phase 2, and there's 4 or 5 phases. But they're all in a pipeline to get cut. And there's a certain period in about 7 or 8 months from now where a lot of them are going to be gone. But we go through the process. But you've seen a big difference. Yes, yeah, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, it'll only get better, too. Yes, sir, please.
A warm welcome, President Trump. I'm Mukesh Ambani from Reliance Industries.
Good.
We are investor in the United States in the energy sector.
Yep, big one. Yeah, $7 billion. A big one.
Shale gas sector.
Right,
We
sure.
also take the feedstock and bring it to India and convert it into value added.
Right, exactly.
Also value added. The other thing is that the United States has been, again, small companies and large companies have been key partners in transforming India's telecom sector. So we built the last 3 years of 4G network.
Right. You're doing 4G. Are you going to do 5G too?
Going to do 5G. And it's all like, we're the only network in the world that doesn't have
Huawei.
a single Chinese component, which doesn't have.
Oh, that's good. Good. Put a bid in.
Even our 5G. I have to thank you personally for your leadership, not only like what you've done in the US, but it has had rub-off effects on all of us. In India, we could have never imagined that income tax rates have come down and Prime Minister Modi.
They followed us.
Followed you. So all of us in the business community are grateful. And I think that also the CFIUS process, like we do acquisitions and grow by
Right,
acquisitions
right.
in the US. And
They're getting approved a lot quicker.
Indian companies, they're getting approved, and we hope that that will continue for Indian companies, particularly in the.
Well, it will be as long as I'm here, but if the wrong person gets elected, that won't happen at all. And everything will come to a halt, and your unemployment rate will go up to 8 or 9 or 10, and a lot of bad things will happen. No, and that has, it is holding back. There's no question about it. I mean, I think we're favored to win. Somebody said 65%, but 65% means there's 35% of something that people don't want, and it would be devastating because the economy's never been as good as it is right now. It's being held back by the fact that we have an election coming up, and I don't think there's anybody, frankly, on the other side, that's going to be very inspirational. It certainly doesn't look like it. So we'll see what happens. Thank you.
We are already sure.
Yeah, great job you've done. Yeah, fantastic. Yes, sir, please.
We are a small company. My name is Sethuram. I am the CEO of a company called Virmala Chemical. We are putting up a food ingredient
How much?
$70 million to start with, and
70 what?
$70 million to start with, and then going up to $400 million.
Good.
Phased manner. And
It's nice when you can say that's a small company, right?
the support that West Virginia government has given us is excellent. They're proud to be there.
It's a great state. Those people are incredible.
The honorable governor and senators have been excellently supporting us. We need a little bit of a banking community support from that area, and we've been discussing with various banks too.
They'll get that done. So you're dealing with the governor? The governor? He's a great governor, actually. Good. He'll get it done. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, sir, please.
Thanks for the opportunity, Mr. President. I'm Kumar Birla of the Aditya Birla Group. We've actually made 2 acquisitions in the US in the last 12 years, totaling about $12 billion. The first company called Novelis.
Yeah, sure.
Leader in aluminum rolled products.
Yep.
Got about 5 large sites across Kentucky, Ohio, Louisiana.
Mostly aluminum? Mostly aluminum?
Only aluminum floating.
How is that going? How's it all going?
That's been very well.
We helped you a lot, right? With the tariffs.
We just signed an agreement to acquire another company called Polaris,
Good?
which is also in the same space of aluminum rolling.
Yeah?
Based out of Cleveland. And I wanted to call out to you and thank you because we got our CPS approval absolutely on time. Polaris, the company that you seek to acquire, supplies to the defense space, which is why we required CPS approval. And we actually got it a few weeks before time from your office. And I wanted to thank you for that.
You got it very quickly. If I weren't elected, the aluminum business in the United States would be absolutely dead. And the steel business would be dead too, frankly. What we did, they were dumping steel all over the place and bad things were happening. And it wasn't good dumping either. It was sand steel, it was garbage. And we got that straightened out, so good. But the aluminum business has made a big comeback. That's good.
And we also have a company by the name of Colombian Chemicals,
Right?
which is the largest producer of carbon blacks. Carbon blacks is the basic raw material for tires and inks and the like, where again we employ about 3,500 people.
So your total investment was 12, did you say? How much? $12 billion. That's a big investment.
We have
It's a big investment.
$12 billion
That's good.
come from the US.
That's good.
We employ about 4,000
Big.
people. I must say that we're a very happy investor because whatever goes on in the government doesn't really impact us. We kind of carry on with work as we do. And I must say that your policy of less regulation,
Right.
tax cuts, and appropriate protection for domestic companies from China, all of those have been for us.
And it means jobs. And we just signed a deal with China, and they're going to be spending $250 billion a year now in our country. 40 to 50 will go to the farmers for the purchase of farm product. But China's been, great. It's going to be a great deal. It's a great deal. We're very happy with it. They're going to take care of their other problem, I hope, quickly. But we're going to be, it's going to be an amazing deal. Okay? Thank you. Great job. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Sadi Parekh from Infosys. We made tremendous investments in the US in the past 2 years, about $525 million.
Good.
24,000 employees in the US, 6 new centers in different states. So we're really grateful for all the approaches you put in, President, with the changes that have come in, both on taxes and on regulations. We see the growth, frankly, in your economy to be a tremendous boost for the technology work that we do. We had a very good discussion earlier today, and I'm grateful for the work that's going on.
Well, thank you. Great job. I know your company. Great job. And, we now also have it so money can come in. When your money's offshore, you can bring it in. Before it was impossible virtually, both bureaucratically, and the rate was so high that nobody would pay it. So nothing came in. Now we have billions and billions of dollars. Apple's bringing in $350 billion, and they're building plants. I just left one. They just opened one in Texas. I just left, and they're building another one. And a lot of things are happening. Great things. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
My name is Amina Hamid, and I'm from Sidra, that's India's third largest pharmaceutical
Yes.
company.
Great. Great job. I know what you've done. Great job. Thank you. So I want to thank you. Go ahead. Let's go. I was just going to say, get out of here, but everyone wants a question now, huh? Here's a young, brilliant businessman. Go ahead.
President Trump, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Ritesh. I run Oyo Hotels. It's a young startup.
Good.
In the last 6 years, we've grown to become a leading hotel chain worldwide. We came into the United States less than a year back. Our aspiration was across the U.S. there are lots of small hotels which can do with better technology, better investments,
Sure.
run by various communities across the country. In the last 8 months, every day we've opened one hotel in the United States. We now manage over 330 hotels.
Right.
Invested over $300 million in the US. But over the couple of years going forward, we expect to invest another $2 billion in the United States. We brought close to 8,000 jobs. And we're signing a pledge with Ivanka soon that will bring hundreds of thousands of more jobs to
That's fantastic.
across Texas, Louisiana, North Dakota, and so on.
Is that where you invest, those areas? That's where you put.
Across the United States, but these are the states where we are the most.
So how many hotels do you have right now then?
313.
That's fantastic.
But
That's,
worldwide over 40,000.
that is really great. I actually know of your company. Not such a small company, by the way. Good job. Thank you very much. Please, go ahead. Yes, okay. Well, we'll do one and one, okay? Go ahead. This one is a big one, right? This is a big guy. This is a big player. Go ahead. I know him very well. I've seen him on enough covers. I should know him, right? Go ahead. How's it going?
Thank you, Mr. President. I know that since you became the president, you saved the steel industry in the United States. And Section 232
Right.
has been the big lesson for the rest of the world and how to support domestic manufacturing. And this is what we expect the other countries to learn. And they should support domestic manufacturing, not like China. They support domestic manufacturing to dump steel in the world. So though we have to address the China overcapacity issue, but I must thank you for what you have done for the steel industry, what you have done for the tax reform, what you have done for the rules, regulations. I've never seen the extent of ease of doing the business what we experience in the United States anywhere else in the world. So I must congratulate you for creating an ease of business ecosystem.
Yeah.
And that is what you have brought to the country, and that is very important.
As you know, 3 years ago, it was just the opposite. It was one of the worst countries to do business in. You couldn't get approvals. You couldn't get anything done. You were sued on environmental, for environmental reasons, not because of the environment, just because it was a way of stopping a project that would produce jobs. And I'm a big believer in the environment, and I want to take care of the environment, but they were just using the laws, and we don't let that happen anymore. But if it's something that is wrong, you know better than anybody, we stop them from doing it. But you've done an incredible job. And the steel industry was dead in our country. And, there are certain industries you can do without, to be honest with you. There are certain industries, we can name a lot of them. But steel you need from a military, and aluminum you need. You got to have the aluminum. But steel you need probably more than anything else. You have to have it. And the job you've done is incredible. Biggest in the world by far. The job you've done is incredible.
We are going to announce about $1 billion investment in Alabama Street.
Good. That's a great place.
Request you to come and lay the foundation.
Good. Well, you let me know. I'll be there for the groundbreaking. No, that's a great. I know you're I know you're looking at Alabama, right? I know. I had heard that. That's great. That's a big plant, and that's going to be the super efficient, super modern. That's going to be a showcase, I hear.
I know that you always know more than I do about my business.
Well, no, but people know about that. That's a great thing for Alabama, and it's an incredible place to invest.
One last question to you. During your last campaign, you announced $1 trillion of infrastructure bill. So I think that you can introduce this $1 trillion infrastructure bill, which was written by Ross and Navarro during your campaign. I think that will further boost the economy.
Well, we are doing things. One of the things we're doing, we're going to be announcing another tax cut in not so long a period of time, largely for middle-income people, because, we gave them a good tax cut, but we're going to give them a fairly substantial cut. And that gives a lot of money to the consumer. One of the reasons we're doing well and other countries are not doing well. China's having a hard time. They're all really not too many are doing well. We're doing better than anybody in the world by far, is because our consumer is rich now because of what we've done with a lot of things, jobs, but also tax cuts. They have money, and other consumers don't have money. So that's great. It's an honor to meet you again, and it was good seeing you there. And I look forward to seeing that plant go up, but I think you're going to probably be doing numerous plants in the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. One more comment that I have United Steel Workers Union, which used to be Democrats.
Right.
And after your tax reform, they started receiving bigger checks.
Right.
So now they've all become Republicans.
Right.
So people can feel the benefit of your presidency.
You gave him the bonus. You gave him a piece of the cut, and the rest went into investment. No, it's a great thing. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, final question. Go ahead. Yeah. Good.
We've been in the U.S. for 35 years.
Yeah.
We've made about 25 investments, approximately about $5 billion. Last year we invested $4 billion.
Good.
We're in the agriculture sector. We also do all our global biotech research in the U.S. in agriculture biotech. And I think we're looking forward. The farmers and the agriculture sector really suffered last year. And I think there's a lot of excitement around that.
Yeah, there is.
I think that area is going to help us grow our business and investments.
Well, as you know, they were targeted and I'm not blaming China for that because they want to try and win something, and they were targeted, and I made up the difference, as you know, with the tariffs that came from China. So they got targeted from China, and then I took money from China and gave it to the farmers. And frankly, they didn't want it. They just want a level playing field. They're incredible people. But they did well, but now they're really doing well because you're seeing the numbers coming out, and it's going to be something very special. Not only that, we have $40 billion coming in from Japan. We have a tremendous amount coming in from the new trade deal that we made with South Korea. And then Canada and Mexico are going to be, the deal is fantastic for our farmer. That's right. I mean, that's right, in the truest sense. And you have a good new head of the World Bank, too. He's one of our people. Oh, yeah, sure. Well, that definitely. I thought you said the World Bank. That's right. But that also. Well, listen, I want to thank you all. Congratulations on your success. We hope you come to the United States, invest more billions, because I view it not as billions, I view it as jobs. And we have great people, and we have the greatest country in the world, in my book. And by the way, India, this has been an honor to be here. And you have a very special prime minister. You have somebody who's very special, and he really knows what he's doing. Somebody said, he's such a nice man. I said, well, actually, he's a very tough man. But he is a nice man. He can be, but he can also be as tough as they come. You know what that means. But he's done a fantastic job, and we work very closely together. And we create jobs here, and he creates jobs over there through yourselves. So again, anything we can do, let us know. Congratulations on your success. And I'm going to say hello to all the people now that work at the embassy. And then we're going to have a little news conference, unless you guys don't want to do it. Maybe you don't have to do it. But you could just see them saying no. Last time, I did it where I met many, many prime ministers, presidents, all like for 3 days. I said, well, let's cancel the news conference because I saw these guys every 45 minutes. And when I canceled the news conference, all hell broke out. So we're not going to do that. So 5 o'clock, we'll see you at 5 o'clock, okay? Thank you, everybody. Great honor. Thank you very much.